Gotten a lot of questions about the high probability seller from the last video that I did. So I want to address one thing that I think might help unlock a lot more potential sellers in the marketplace today. But it also is tied to a question that I bring up to a lot of my coaching clients, which is, how do we transition from a real estate sales agent, you're just a salesperson, to a real estate consultant, someone that is a real estate advisor. So let's address two things. Number one, demographics, and number two, how to become an advisor inside of your community with all of your friends, learning this thing called demographics. So let's dive into this. And I think this will help you guys unlock a ton of potential sellers and help you line up a bunch of future sellers inside of your communities and your marketplace with this information. So demographics, what is this? So a long time ago, I started studying demographics when I was really looking at real estate economics. And if you talk to any real estate economist who makes predictions about where the real estate market goes, you will hear them reference demographics. And so that's what caught my attention, was when I was looking at different demographic charts and how demographics were influencing real estate and the real estate market. And I was like, wow, that's so interesting. So when I started studying demographics, one of the guys said, hey, at every stage of life, there's a different real estate transaction. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. And so if we look today and we go, okay, if you're in your early 20s, the first transaction, right, typically is kind of buying that starter home or condo. And then, if you were successful and single, if your parents helped you, that's a good decision. And then the next transition is, hey, I got married and I had a kid, and so I move out of the condo, sell, and I buy, trade up to a single family in the school district. If I can afford that, obviously, things go well. And then maybe I'm in that starter home, and then if things get good and maybe I have more kids and a dog and, my career gets better, and then I want to trade up into that, sell and trade up into that next community where I can have either maybe a better school district, or I have more room, or it's closer to my new employment, or I'm just trying to improve my lifestyle, my position. And then you're now in that really prime neighborhood or community, and then you raise your kids, and then the kids then take off to go to college, and then you're now in that retirement zone, and you've got the two-story typically. And then what do? Right? You then either downsize. Now, what are we seeing today? We're seeing kind of two factors. Those early retirees are selling the bigger house and trying to find the house to downsize into. And that's a big challenge right now because that transition is difficult. Okay? But the second thing we're seeing is these retirees following their millennial kids and going to be closer to the grandkids. So they may be selling to go chase and follow the grandkids. Very common today is what we're seeing. Okay, so that's another demographic shift. Then if we go all the way to the top, then we're seeing now, more of the elderly, more seniors who are now moving either to assisted living, or they're unfortunately, kind of making that next transition. They own this property, and then they're moving to more of an assisted living or a retirement community. Okay, so if we look at demographics, you guys, this is where we actually can see all of the next sellers, and you could see all of these transitions playing out in your marketplace. You're helping these buyers who are making these transitions. They're selling that and moving to this. selling that and moving to this. And really, it's very predictable. So this is why, demographic research is part of real estate economic data and forecasting. So what was interesting to me is real estate agents, real estate coaches and trainers, I don't hear any of them talking about demographics. And it never really was that important, really. I think I used it as a part of, kind of how to communicate more effectively with your database and maybe tracking some of the demographic next phase of real estate life in your database. I thought that was kind of clever, but, it's mostly just more work. But now that we have this low inventory problem, now that we have property radar, which can give us the demographic data inside of your communities and your farms with different property types, we really need to now pay attention to this, because we need to now start communicating with that next seller who's going to either trade up, downsize, or go to assisted living. And we need to get them into our consultations so that we can help them, right, unlock some of the property that they have and go get into the next phase of their life. And so instead of us just talking about, are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Is now the time, now the time, now the time? Why me? Why me? Why me? Look, I did it again, did it again, did it again, because that's all of our marketing right now. We should be actually saying, hey, are you considering trading up? Right? With Property Radar, we can pull a list of that demographic inside of your farm that owns that property type that most likely they're going to make that next change, right? A good example of this was one of the geographic farms that I lived in Carlsbad, and it was the community was built in the 2000, right? So it was built in 1999 to 2000. And so this is a big community for two-story houses, mostly. Great, school area, beautiful community. So in the early 2000s, a bunch of young families bought these houses, raised their kids. 20 years later, and oh, funny, the last two listings that my wife and I listed in that community were, oh, the kids were already now in college, taking off, and the parent was downsizing. Surprise, surprise. Pretty much if I were to look at most of the sales in that community, that's exactly what it is. It's 60 to 70-year-olds in that community with the two-story. Kids are off to college, and they're now making the next phase of their life with real estate. So instead of us constantly just saying, why me? Why now? Why don't we actually start addressing some of the transitions that some of the families are making inside of our communities, and start becoming good educators, real estate advisors, and letting them know what to do to prepare, letting them know what questions they should be asking, letting them know what other people like them are doing. And with the tool Property Radar, we can actually identify the exact demographic in your marketplace and send them the exact information that they would most likely appreciate and enjoy, so that you would then get the consultation, right? So that you can help them make that transition. And this, my friends, I think is really exciting. It's not only, I think, necessary, meaning that we need to stop being sales agents. Why me? Why now? Do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, and become consultants and become the real estate advisors. Have helped people exactly like you. And here's what I've helped them with, and here's some of the things that we've done. Here's some of the options that they've exercised, and here's some of the great results that I've helped people just like you with the exact same scenario. I've helped them do it numerous times. So I hope that was helpful. A little bit about demographics. I hope that opened your eyes to see in your marketplace some of the transitions, what's going on, then how to use Property Radar. Make sure you grab my link down below if you haven't jumped onto Property Radar. That is an affiliate link, so thank you for doing that in advance, right? I think I get like 10 bucks if you do it, so I'll buy you, a beer or a coffee next time I see you in appreciation for that. But more importantly, we need to get access to that demographic data and start doing some really smart marketing campaigns that take us away from being such a sales agent and turning us into real estate advisors who are educators, who are here to serve these families in these communities, or these families in our communities. Enjoy. Have an awesome day.